Are you ready to connect with the nurturing, emotional energy of this full moon and release emotional weight that no longer serves you? The full moon in Cancer arrives on January 13th at 2:27 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:27 Eastern Time, illuminating our emotions and inviting us to embrace self-care and emotional release. This full moon, known as the Wolf Moon, is the first full moon of the year. The name comes from the howling of the wolves during the cold, long nights of January. It symbolizes a time to reconnect with our instincts, reflect on our emotional survival, and embrace our inner strength. Cancer, ruled by the moon, is a sign of home, family, and deep emotional connections. This full moon encourages us to dive into our emotional world, nurture ourselves, and let go of any emotional baggage we've been carrying. Today, I'll share some of the best crystals to work with during the Cancer full moon to help you focus your energy and intentions towards emotional healing. So let's dive in. During this full moon, the most powerful crystals to work with are those that promote emotional healing, intuition, and nurturing. Here are some top choices. Moonstone for emotional balance, intuition, and connecting with lunar energy. Rose quartz to open the heart and promote unconditional love and self-care. Clear quartz to amplify intentions and bring clarity to emotional release. Selenite for cleansing and bringing peace to the mind and spirit. Carnelian to boost courage and help release old emotional patterns. These crystals resonate with Cancer's energy, helping you to feel safe as you explore and heal your emotional world. To connect more deeply with the full moon's influence, it helps to understand where it's affecting you personally. The energy of the full moon doesn't just affect everyone the same way, it's specific to your natal chart. I've included a free tool in the description to help you figure this out using your exact birth details. Knowing the house placement can give you a clear sense of where emotional release and healing are most needed in your life. That said, using your rising sign works well for most people. Let's walk through the full moon's influence in each of the 12 houses, and I've paired each house with a crystal that aligns with its energy. For Cancer Rising, full moon in the first house. Your crystal is Moonstone, which enhances emotional balance. What emotions have you been holding back, preventing you from fully caring for yourself? How can you create space for self-love and release emotional weight that no longer serves you? Your affirmation is, I honor my emotions, release emotional burdens, and nurture myself with care. I honor my emotions, release emotional burdens, and nurture myself with care. I honor my emotions, release emotional burdens, and nurture myself with care. For a Gemini Rising full moon in the second house, your crystal is green aventurine, which encourages abundance. What old beliefs about your self-worth and money are you still holding on to? How can you release fears and welcome a deeper sense of trust in your value and abundance? Your affirmation is, I let go of old fears and embrace my worth, allowing abundance to flow into my life. I let go of old fears and embrace my worth, allowing abundance to flow into my life. I let go of old fears and embrace my worth, allowing abundance to flow into my life. For Taurus Rising, full moon in the third house. Your crystal is blue lace agate, which promotes gentle communication. How have past emotional wounds affected the way you communicate with others? How can you release old patterns in your speech and express yourself more authentically. Your affirmation is, I release old emotional patterns and communicate my truth with love and clarity. I release old emotional patterns and communicate my truth with love and clarity. I release old emotional patterns and communicate my truth with love and clarity. For Aries Rising, full moon in the 4th house. Your crystal is rose quartz, which fosters love and healing at home. What emotional baggage from your family or home life is weighing you down? How can you create a peaceful and healing environment in your home, letting go of old tensions? Your affirmation. I release old family patterns and create a home filled with peace, love, and emotional healing. I release old family patterns and create a home filled with love, peace, and emotional healing. I release old family patterns and create a home filled with peace, love, and emotional healing. For Pisces Rising, full moon in the 5th house. Your crystal is Carnelian, which sparks creativity and joy. How have past emotional blockages kept you from fully embracing your creativity and joy? How can you clear emotional space to allow for more joy and creative flow in your life? Your affirmation. I release creative blocks and welcome the flow of joy and inspiration into my life. I release creative blocks and welcome the flow of joy and inspiration into my life. I release creative blocks and welcome the flow of joy and inspiration into my life. For Aquarius Rising, full moon in the 6th house. Your crystal is Amazonite, which brings balance to routines. What emotional patterns are affecting your daily routines and your well-being? How can you nurture your body and mind with more care, releasing old habits that no longer serve you? Your affirmation. I release emotional imbalances and nurture my well-being with healthy, balanced routines. I release emotional imbalances and nurture my well-being with healthy, balanced routines. I release emotional imbalances and nurture my well-being with healthy, balanced routines. For Capricorn Rising, full moon in the 7th house. Your crystal is rhodonite, which heals emotional wounds. What past emotional wounds are affecting your relationships? How can you let go of past hurt and open yourself to deeper emotional connections? Your affirmation. I release past emotional wounds and embrace open, loving connections in my relationships. I release past emotional wounds and embrace open, loving connections in my relationships. I release past emotional wounds and embrace open, loving connections in my relationships. For Sagittarius Rising, full moon in the 8th house. Your crystal is obsidian, which protects during transformation. How can you release emotional fear or trauma that prevents you from embracing intimacy? How can you trust the deep emotional transformation required to open your heart fully to others? Your affirmation is, I release emotional barriers and trust in my ability to transform and embrace intimacy. I release emotional barriers and trust in my ability to transform and embrace intimacy. I release emotional barriers and trust in my ability to transform and embrace intimacy. For Scorpio Rising, full moon in the ninth house, your crystal is amethyst, which enhances spiritual growth. How have past emotional beliefs limited your willingness to expand and grow? How can you release old emotional attachments to beliefs that are no longer serving you? Your affirmation: I release emotional limitations and open myself to new experiences and spiritual growth. I release emotional limitations and open myself to new experiences and spiritual growth. I release emotional limitations and open myself to new experiences and spiritual growth. For Libra Rising, full moon in the 10th house, your crystal is garnet, which strengthens ambition. What emotional fears or insecurities are holding you back from pursuing your career goals? How can you release these emotional blocks and confidently step into your professional purpose? Your affirmation: I release emotional fears and step forward with confidence, fully embracing my career path. I release emotional fears and step forward with confidence, fully embracing my career path. I release emotional fears and step forward with confidence, fully embracing my career path. For Virgo Rising, full moon in the 11th house, your crystal is sodalite, which encourages authentic connections. How have past emotional patterns created barriers to fully connecting with your community? How can you let go of old fears and embrace deeper, more authentic relationships? Your affirmation: I release old emotional barriers and align with supportive, authentic connections in my community. I release old emotional barriers and align with supportive, authentic connections in my community. I release old emotional barriers and align with supportive, authentic connections in my community. For Leo Rising, full moon in the 12th house, your crystal is clear quartz, which aids in clarity and healing. What hidden emotional baggage is preventing you from healing on a deeper level? How can you create space for emotional renewal and spiritual clarity in your life? Your affirmation is: I release hidden emotional baggage and trust in my healing and spiritual growth. I release hidden emotional baggage and trust in my healing and spiritual growth. I release hidden emotional baggage and trust in my healing and spiritual growth. Remember, the full moon in Cancer is all about honoring your emotions and trusting the process of emotional release. Whether you're focused on healing family patterns, deepening relationships, or nurturing your creativity, this is a time to let go of what no longer serves you and align with your own inner strength. As we wrap up today's session, I invite you to take some time during this full moon in Cancer to work with these crystals and reflect on the questions I've shared. This is your opportunity to release old emotional weight, nurture yourself, and create space for healing and renewal. By using the crystals and guidance specific to your rising sign, you can deepen your connection to this full moon energy and take meaningful steps towards emotional healing. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you find clarity, peace, and emotional release during this full moon. Wishing you all the best on your journey, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on astrology, crystals, and personal growth. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.